Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Sam Kelly's New Zealand crime thriller, Savage. And this film focuses on a man who's part of this gang, and the film shows back to him as a child and all of the trauma that he had been through leading up to this point of him being in this gang, and the violence around him, and him trying to get to the point where he could leave that behind. And this film focuses mostly on this main character, Damage, played by Jake Ryan, who gives an intense and commanding performance. He's somebody that you look at him, he's intimidating, he carries himself in an intimidating way. And you also see these moments where he has this kindredship with his fellow gang members, including Moses, played by John Tui, who's been together with him for a long time, and they have this brotherhood together, all these gang members. But the film doesn't shy away from showing the violence and the terrible things that this gang does and what Moses has as expectations for the members of this gang. You have Damage being pushed to doing terrible things. You have him pushed to doing things that he does not want to do. And you see, as he gets further into the film, he has confrontations with his family. There's explicit violence in this film. It's graphic. You see him beating up his brother. You see him, as a child, him and his friend at this, reform school, or I wouldn't necessarily call it a school. They basically just beat these kids all day and then put them in solitary when they do things wrong. But you see them overcoming this priest there and beating the crap out of them. And you have all these different scenes because this is what has led this man to this point. The film also focuses on a couple other threads, including this young couple who really want to have some sex and do some things together, and they want to run away together. And I guess the film is trying to show they could have had a different path and trying to get out of this early and not being stuck in this. I guess you have this connection to this young man because it's he can get away. But I feel like that storyline feels a little just tacked on and doesn't feel like it's part of or built up enough for it to feel organically part of this main through point of this film, which is Damage. He is the main character, and this is his story, and for some reason you take these little respites off focusing on this younger guy. But you have this film. Kelly does a fine job of capturing the violence and the brutality and really not pulling punches in terms of showing that. Technically, this film, it's not the most technically sound film. It doesn't, the cinematography isn't anything impressive. It's shot, it's shown, it feels a little low budget in ways, but this film is still able to convey this story, which, not gonna lie, it's not gonna surprise you. Maybe the violence will shock you, but what happens in terms of the story and how it plays out isn't gonna be something that's gonna surprise you or keep you guessing. It's goes about it as you expect, and pacing wise, this cutting back and forth to when he was younger, don't know if it worked as well in terms of keeping up the momentum of the story, because a decent chunk of the first half of this film is cutting back to him as a kid. And there's some really powerful moments, but in terms of how the story progresses, it feels like you're taking these detours throughout the film and don't necessarily really come together perfectly. But in the end, I feel like Savage is a film that captures the themes very well. It shows that violence in a meaningful way where it shows you this is not the way. And it doesn't pull those punches in showing the violence, but it doesn't glorify it. It's not like we're watching an action movie, we're watching a violent film. And we have strong performances from Ryan and Tui, and Kelly does a fine job putting this film together. So I think Savage is above average fine thriller you have here, and it's worth checking out. And it's on virtual cinemas right now on both Amazon and Fandango. So maybe if you're in the mood for something to really like knock you on your butt, go check out this film. But those are my thoughts on Savage. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.